Jen, and thank you so much for checking out Your Best Work Life. Here it is my mission to help you find fulfillment in your career by getting clear on your career goals and learning how to communicate your value so that you can actually achieve them. If you are watching this on my website, liveyourbestworklife.com, thank you so much for visiting. Please be sure to subscribe to my email newsletter so you stay in the know on all my latest content, but more importantly, my behind the scenes, tips, tricks, and best job search and career development advice. If you're watching this on YouTube, please be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you're made aware every time I release a new video. Today, I want to talk about how to impress in an interview. I've talked about this in other recent videos, but the job market is crazy right now. Companies are hiring like crazy, there are millions of job openings, and unemployment has been on a steady decline over the past couple of years at this point. So if you are thinking about making a career move, looking for a new job, now is a great time, but there is a lot of competition. So it is important that your resume is dialed in and you are prepared for every interview you go into, so you are giving yourself the best chance of landing a job offer. Tip number 1, know more than expected. When you go into an interview, it's not expected that you'll know everything about that company, that job, or even their industry. However, it is important that you are prepared so that you're not completely clueless when they're asking you questions about your experience and how it might relate to that job. So a great way to really impress in an interview is to not only know a little bit about the job and the company, which is expected, that you will know a little bit about the organization and that you've read through the job description, but take it one step further. Really read through that company website and know a little bit about their history. Maybe know a little bit about their values or their mission statement. Don't feel like you need to memorize all of that, but maybe jot down some notes that you can reference in your interview and speak to their values or their mission statement. When you can go into an interview and speak to a company's values, the company history, or really anything that's above and beyond the norm of what would be expected stepping into an interview, it's going to help you make a phenomenal first impression. Those little tidbits of information that you might be familiar with or may choose to ask about really will impress the people you're interviewing, because again, there may be an expectation that you've taken a look at the company website or read through the job description, but most people aren't taking the time to really do a deep dive, especially before some of the first or initial interviews in the interview process. So if you really want to wow your interviewers and make a phenomenal first impression, do a little bit of extra research and be prepared to speak to that or ask questions about that throughout the interview. Number 2, be early. This one might be pretty straightforward, but being late is one of the easiest ways to count yourself out for an opportunity. Whether it be a virtual interview, an in-person interview, a phone interview, being late is not acceptable. Again, when you are applying for a job, going through the interview process, you should be putting your best foot forward. So if you don't show up on time to an interview, you are not setting a good precedent that you are going to be timely if you were to actually be given that job. So make sure you're early. I think, if you are going to an in-person interview, 10 to 15 minutes is a great window. You don't want to go much before that, because then you're almost being disrespectful of the interviewer's time, right? They do have a schedule. They scheduled your interview for a particular time for a reason. So be mindful of that, but you don't want to be showing up late, and you don't want to be showing up right when the interview should be started, because then you're going to be rushed. You're not leaving yourself any time or wiggle room for anything that may go wrong. If you can't find a parking spot, if you can't find the suite, or if it's a virtual interview, make sure you're logged on at least 5 to 10 minutes ahead of time to make sure you don't have any internet issues, you don't have to download any software, or whatever the case may be. So give yourself some time so that you're prepared, cool, calm, collected, confident, and ready to go for that interview. Number 3, be clear and concise with confidence. When you are in an interview, you don't want to drag on forever and ever. You want to make sure that you can answer questions directly, as quickly as possible, but with using a little bit of oomph or an example of your previous experience. So don't just use 1 or 2 word answers and then be done with it. You want to give a little more color or backstory to how you're answering that particular question and how you have relevant experience or accomplishments, again, whatever it might be. But make sure that you are being concise and that you are being clear and to the point in terms of answering the actual question that they asked you, and you want to speak with confidence. Don't feel like you're bragging or being arrogant. Again, you want to have I guess you do want to have a humble demeanor about yourself, but you want to have confidence. If you don't believe what you're saying, the person interviewing you is not going to believe what you're saying. So make sure that you are taking the time to prepare for your interviews so that you are comfortable speaking to your experience, your accomplishments, and again, you can craft those experiences or speak to those experiences and weave them into your answers in quick, clear, and concise ways that will show that you are absolutely capable and confident to step into that role and hit the ground running. Number 4, ask thoughtful questions. This is really important because questions are how you as the interviewee are going to really determine if this is the right role for you. So if you don't have any questions, this can really put off an interviewer, honestly. It can really give the perception that you're not interested, that you haven't taken it seriously, or at the very least, you haven't really thought about yourself stepping into that position. So make sure you ask some really good, thoughtful questions that will help you learn more about the company, more about the opportunity, and if it's going to be the right fit for you, but also will demonstrate to those interviewers and decision makers that you're serious, professional, thoughtful, and prepared. Number 5, my last but not least tip to impress in an interview is to follow up. Again, this is where a lot of people fall short. I don't know if it's a lack of confidence or just they don't know that it's acceptable to do this, but always follow up after an interview. Ideally, send a thank you note after every interview, but make sure you're following up within 24 hours or so to express your interest, thank them for their time, and ask about next steps. This is a phenomenal way, again, to make a great impression, to show that you're serious, that you're interested, that you want the opportunity. This will help you stand out. And again, it will help you to move the process along, because when you reach out and you ask about next steps, oftentimes that will trigger the decision makers to get that next step scheduled. Or if for whatever reason they're deciding to go another way, at least you know. So make sure that you are following up after your interviews, especially if you're serious about the opportunity. So let's quickly recap on these 5 ways to really impress in an interview. Number 1, know more than is expected. Know a little bit of extra information about that company history, their values, or whatever it might be to help you really stand out and wow those interviewers. Number 2, be early. More importantly, do not be late. So make sure you're giving yourself a little bit of time so that you're not rushed and you're ready to go when that interview starts. Number 3, be clear, concise, with confidence in all of your answers and as you carry on those conversations throughout the interview process. Number 4, be sure to ask thoughtful questions that will help you in your decision-making process, but also prove to those interviewers that you are prepared, you've done your research, and you are serious about this opportunity. And finally, number 5, follow up. If you are serious and interested in a particular position that you've interviewed for, follow up. Reach back out to that hiring manager or decision maker, thank them for their time, let them know you want it so that they are prompted to get that process moving and get you through and hopefully to a job offer. Thank you again for spending your time with me today and watching this video. I really hope it was helpful as you look at preparing for your next interviews and making those big next career moves. Please be sure to like, and again, don't forget to subscribe and share this video with anyone else you know who might be looking for a new job sometime soon. Thank you again, and I'll see you next time on Your Best Work Life.